Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Bedford County Sports Talk Live. I'm David Thomas. To my left is Mr. Bill Anderson, and on the far end, Mr. Kenny Parker. Good to have you guys with us this morning. We want to thank our sponsors to start out with First Bank of Shelbyville, Corner Cleaners of Shelbyville, and Kincaid
Service Company
right here on Madison Street in Shelbyville as well. We appreciate our sponsors and thank them for allowing us to do this show. It wouldn't be possible without those guys, Phil.
Yeah, and the friendships.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Let's talk some high school basketball.
we got a lot of basketball. Yeah. All these makeup games.
And we've had a lot of basketball. But next week's the last regular season week. We're getting into tournament. So it's winding down quickly.
Well, let's start with Cascade. What scores have you got, Bill? Do you have any?
Yeah, I mean, they played Forest, Tuesday night? Cascade girls 58, Forest 29. Good win for the girls. Mm-hmm. The boys had a big win, 64-29. And then last night, Santa Fe is not an easy place to play.
No, it's not.
It's not. Never has been. And the girls get a big win, 45-42. And the boys got a good win, 56-51.
The girls doubled up Santa Fe. They had beaten them early in the year at Cascade. But the boys go to Santa Fe, and they've got a player. I'm not sure what his name is. He's the Onsar pick to be the Mr. Basketball.
Yeah.
And I think they're the number one team in the state.
And that's a hard gym to play. If you've never been there, that's tough.
That's a small.
Well, let's talk about this just for a second. You said Santa Fe.
Uh-huh.
You said Santa Fe. What is it? What do they call it? Somebody from there.
This is Middle Tennessee. We say things different.
Shelbyville.
Well, what do those folks?
Is it Shelbyville or Shovel?
It's Shovel where I'm sitting. But here's my question: what do the people that call it down there? The same thing?
Same thing.
Both. Okay.
Both ways.
All right. New people here call it Shelbyville.
The
old people.
Anybody know where that is?
You know whether they're from here or not.
Exactly.
You got to go to Columbia and then go. It's outside of. It's in Maury County, but it's out in the country.
Maury or Murray?
That's a good question. Maury or Murray?
All right. Well, it's spelled Maury.
Right.
And we call it Murray.
Yeah.
You said it right, Bill. I'm impressed. All right. So Cascades had a pretty good week then.
Had a good week. Coach Lawson was on the show this morning at
104.5. Yeah, it was really good too.
He said they've won like 4 of their last 5 and beginning to play good basketball and need to, because he said Cannon County's boys and girls are the top of that district. But then Cascade Community and Grundy County are all vying for the big seed. So,
and we'll get to Community here a little bit later, but believe it or not, Community had Cannon County tied 49-49. Robbie Davis sent that to me with a minute 37 to go, and nobody's touched Cannon this year. So Community really played them tough.
Yeah. Well, good morning, Helen. Good to see you this morning. Thanks
Community
for coming
scored 94 points last night, so they got
sure did.
Better.
Okay, so it looks like for Cascade things are gelling, and the girls are
getting better.
Yeah, they are much better.
I mean, they've come from last year. They didn't win 4 or 5 games, and they're 3 games away from being 500 this year. They're 10-13.
As good of
10-13,
and playing good ball right now.
As good of a 3 or 4 years Coach Lawson's had at Cascade. Honestly, this may be his best coaching job.
Oh,
right,
no doubt,
no doubt about it. Before they started, lost so much,
mm-hmm.
and really, as the season's gotten going, they've gotten better,
and they are getting better and playing
at
better
tournament time
with more confidence. And this is when you want to be doing
exactly that. Headed into this district tournament. They've got 2 more games.
Yeah, they play Grundy and Forest this week. He said.
Okay, so that gives them
Grundy's
a chance
having to make up a bunch of games this week.
Yeah. Well, it gives them a chance to tune up a little bit for this tournament coming up.
Right.
And let's talk about Community. You got any scores?
Yeah, we got some Community scores too. Earlier in the week, Community girls beat Harpeth 58-54. The Community boys won 62-53. And then Cannon County, like I said, beat Community girls 57-43. And the boys lost 58-52, but that game was tied 49-49 with a minute 37. More makeup games, of course. The Forest Community girls, big win, 55-39 over Forest. And the Community boys, Coach Robbie Davis puts up 94 points. He won 94-60 in that one. The Coaches versus Cancer is this Tuesday.
Right.
Or out at community, I believe it is.
Right. It'll be their first time to have it out there.
I think so.
Yeah.
Was it last Tuesday?
No,
It's this coming Tuesday.
It's coming when I thought it was.
Yeah. So Mr. Charlie Pope was on earlier this
Right.
week with us and was talking about that. It's a really good story to
Mhm.
hear. We hope they have great success, and guys,
Yep.
get out and support that out at community.
And what's kind of strange this week about community is this week, I think they have to play Cannon County again on Monday. And then on Thursday, you're at home to Grundy. And on Friday, you play Grundy again up there. So 2 nights, that's unusual to play the same
back
team
to
back 2 days with no rest.
Yeah, that's going to be
But
tough.
that's the makeup things here.
Yeah.
And Grundy missed a lot more games than everybody else did because of where they're located with the weather and whatnot,
Right.
Yeah.
being up on the mountain.
Well, they have to dial their practice down a little bit. Just go shoot a few, just
Mhm.
warm up, and they're ready to go
just
for the
warm
next.
up. Just walk around,
Yeah.
walk around, warm ups.
Yep. All right. Well, let's move on to Central now. They had the boys won last night.
We
So
did.
they moved to 5-17. Had a tough loss earlier in the week by 3 points. Bill, give us a rundown on this week at Central.
Orange County is tough. Shovel Girls had a big win against their girls earlier, 47-29, and the Warren County girls are like 18-6. That was a good win for the girls. Warren County, probably the class possibly of this district, beat the boys 69-46. And then Spring Hill, the Shovel Girls, nice win there, 46-23 for Coach Turnham. And this was a tough one for Shelbyville. They lost 46-43 at Spring Hill.
That was a tough loss.
And that was just some things there that just were tough.
Yeah.
But had the game tied, had the lead late in the ball game with 2 minutes. I think it was under 2 minutes to go. We're up 3, and we wound up losing by 3. But it was 44-43. We had to foul there at the end. But Trice made a big 3-pointer to get them close at the very end. That was nice. And
Right. Well, the boys are now 5-17. Girls moved to 13-9. How do you see things shaping up for Central, Bill, as going into the tournament on girls' end? They had
you got
lull.
Coffee County's tough. Warren County's tough. But they did just beat Warren County. But Coffee County probably the class of the region right there.
Very well, maybe.
And Lincoln. Lincoln's good.
At Sheffield last night, I had it was homecoming, and I want to give kudos to whoever, and I think it may have been Cheryl Moore, the entertainment with the cheerleaders and the boys doing. They had some kind of dance skid to old music, and all the cheerleaders had a partner, and each one of them came in. It was about 11 minutes of nonstop music, dancing, and that was great. Then they had the crowning of the homecoming queen, and
they topped it off with a win.
And they topped it off with a win. But I think her name was Buchanan. This young lady's, she's got a future.
Well, it's good to see those kids out there getting stuff done. That's good to see. So,
Lincoln County girls a little too much for Shelbyville. They're really good.
Sheffield was playing.
They played with them, but
hey, early it was back and forth. Sheffield would go up, they would go up, and then they hit a stretch right there, and Lincoln County sort of pulled away from them. But Lincoln County's athletic and can shoot. They're pretty good.
Yeah. All right, so we've got a lot of ball games coming up this
Shovel
week.
boys win last night, 60-47, snap a 6-game losing streak. This has been a tough year. There's no doubt about it. We've lost 4 of the last 5 by single digits nearly, and it's been tough. Last night in this game, though, you're down 22-19 at the half, and it looked a lot similar to what we'd seen, but it was a close tight ball game.
They were winning. Sheffield was up most of the first half, and then, Lincoln County got on a little roll right before half and went up by 3.
Yep, it was 22-19.
And then Sheffield came back in the third quarter, and I think going into the fourth quarter, they were up 5 or 6.
So, what was that final score?
It was 60-47.
So they pulled away at the end.
I'm gonna give a shout out. Good friend of mine, Bert Conant, kind of raised up with him a little bit. He was Charlie Turner, if any of y'all knew him's grandson. I grew up with them boys, and his son Jack Condit last night
had a good game.
Shout out to him. 4 3-pointers, scored 18 points.
But I'll tell you another shout out. Jack did a good job from the outside.
Yep.
They had a big boy on the inside.
And we'll get to him, Tayshawn Shelton.
Had a pretty good game. Went out with like 20 or 30 seconds left to go in the game, was holding his shin, but had a really good game. They started going to him
Yes, they did.
more in the second half, and he started performing.
That's what these other teams do not want to see. They don't want to see him getting that ball down. They've been trying to defend that.
Well, that's why they zoned us too.
Yeah.
The zone trying to keep away from that. Got to find a way to still get it to him.
Early in the first half, he was running around the 3-point arc area down on the low base. He would go in and out. And then I'm just saying, wow. And then at halftime, I made an adjustment. He started staying down low inside. And a lot of times, Chevrolet were acting sort of like they were shooting the ball, but it was sort of an alley-oop to him to get him above, because they had nothing for him.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
They had nothing for him.
Well, that's good to see him get involved in a game like that. I think that's going to give him more confidence going forward through into the tournament, and maybe give our team overall understanding that we can.
I believe he's a sophomore.
I was going to say he's
a
sophomore.
He's young, and that's going to give him confidence for next year. But if you get packed in, there's still a way to get the ball.
Absolutely.
The way the Condit young man shot the ball last night, you got to respect him, and then you go out there and respect him. You send one or two out there, then that's going to put 3 on 4 somewhere.
Well, that's what we've been missing, is that consistent outside shot. But if you can put it inside, eventually, I mean, if you just attack that zone and get it down low, it defeats a team, because the whole game plan is to keep it from getting forced in there. So, all right, so upcoming this week, Bill, what do we got? 3 games?
We got 3 games this week. We're at home Monday night against Columbia. Always a tough ball game, but I'll promise you this one. Columbia's not going to zone Shelbyville. They'll man it up.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to go down the floor.
And they're pretty good ball.
Pretty good.
Athlete against athlete.
That's what that's going to be. Now, here's the big game with district implications. Tuesday night, we get another shot at home against Spring Hill, which I think we should have probably beat them.
Monday's the Columbia game.
Monday's the first Columbia game.
Okay.
Then Tuesday, the next night, we play Spring Hill here. That's got some implications, because right now Lincoln County, Shelbyville, Spring Hill are all tied at the seating at the bottom.
Yeah.
So that's a big game. And then Friday night at Columbia. So you got to play Columbia twice this week.
Monday and Friday.
Yeah. Monday and Friday.
Well, it'll be interesting to see that if they take some of that confidence into this next week.
And when we do Coach Young's show, which we usually do on Mondays, of course, clearly we can't because of the Columbia game. So Shane wanted to do it on Thursday.
That's all right. Thursday, absolutely. We'll do it Thursday.
So Shane Young show will be Thursday.
All right. Well.
And it was let me say this too about the Shovel Boys for a minute. This isn't what we all wanted probably. But we were getting blown out of games last year. This was the first district win for Shelbyville. Hang on, Kenny. Since 2021. But these kids didn't quit. The first district win since 2021.
But going in, this is
but
where
these kids have played hard, and you just got to be proud of them.
This is where we lose it as spectators, as fans, sometimes as parents. Going into the season, knew it was going to be tough. Knew it was going to be total rebuilding. The same thing happened with Green Bay. Going into the season, you know it was going to be building. You know it was going to be young. And then after 2 or 3 games into the season, you forget all of that, and they ain't winning. And that's all you're thinking about. They're not winning. You forget the fact that you made the comment that we're going to be building. We're going to take some lumps. But then after you take those lumps, we ain't winning. Something ain't going on.
Yeah.
We forget that as spectators, as
we expect
fans.
way too much.
Well, same thing with the Shelbyville boys with football. The football team.
Yeah,
we were 1-10 a year ago.
Exactly.
That's the same thing.
Boom.
Yeah.
Look what happens this year.
Yeah. Well, and the thing about that, you see the success the football team had, and now you expect the same success. But this is Coach Young's first year, so he's dealing with what Coach Dryden dealt with his first year. Next year, you'll see the improvement.
Oh, you're going to see a great improvement next year. But this year's not over.
No, you got
these boys play like they played last night.
Yeah,
they might make a little noise here. Surprise people.
Yeah,
they play like they played last night.
Finish strong. Everybody get out and support these local teams.
And I promise you, they'll play hard. Yep. They do that.
We've got Cascade, we've got Community, and we've got Central headed into the tournaments. We've got Webb playing. And I've got that the Webb boys are now 15-9 on the year, and the girls are 9-12. We can't find scores per se like we want to on Coach T, but good luck to all.
Boy, Max Preps had all these scores wrong. I tried looking up there this morning, and it was like opposite scores. And
David and I were talking. Here's what's bad: you'll get you'll get one of the girls' scores,
Uh-huh.
and then you won't get the boys' score.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you'll get the boys' score, but you can't get the girls' score.
And these scores have to be reported by somebody
Right.
to Coach T. He just don't have a crystal ball looking at
that's
this stuff. So people, if you have connections to Coach T, if you're on Score Stream, report these scores so that we can have them, and other people that are looking will have them.
And if you've got connections with David Bill and I, send them to
Send
us
them.
so we
just
can
text it in.
so
we'll
we
have it.
can.
Coach Robbie Davis sends me a text and I sure appreciate it because he's always keeping me up to date with what's going on in the community and what's coming up and
Right.
giving me scores and all that good stuff. So thank you, Coach Davis.
I've talked to Coach DeMumbrim, the girls
Right.
coach at Cascade and Lawson, the boys, and ask them, hey, and Coach Gill with Raston, hey, shoot me a text. I want to get our guys and our ladies. We want to get them out there on the
Absolutely.
air.
All right, let's stop again now and thank our sponsors. First Bank here of Shelbyville, right here on Madison Street. Kincaid
Service company
on Madison Street as well. And then Corner Cleaners out on North Main Street. Go out, see Susie. She can take care of all your dry cleaning, pressing, washing, drying, the whole works. They do it all right there. And they
And
also
tuxedo rentals.
it's coming up. Tuxedo time will be up before you know it, Bill. It'll be springtime here in April, March, April, and they'll start talking about proms and we'll see weddings, and she can handle all that stuff. But give some business to these sponsors.
Sure.
They're local.
you don't
local
see these
companies.
corporations supporting athletics in Bedford County,
No,
but
you
you
don't.
do see these local businesses that do it.
And like
Yep.
like we've said earlier, you go into a gym, you go on
Baseball
to the baseball
field,
field, the
football
football
field.
fields, and the banners all around. They're local.
Absolutely.
So we need to support them, not just on this show here,
Right.
but when you see them at the whatever game you're at, support them.
Absolutely. Well, let's change gears.
Walk into
now.
their business and thank them.
Yeah, just say thanks.
Just say, hey, thanks.
Let's move over to some basketball now for a minute. Tennessee upset this week by South Carolina.
That was a tough. Tennessee looked flat.
Yeah,
They looked
did.
tired, and it looked like they were just relying on the poor Connect kid to do everything. Now, something just didn't look right there.
Yeah,
Now, I think South Carolina, for one guy, is a whole lot better than we think. They're 18-3 now. They're pretty good, but that's a win Tennessee should have had at home. You don't lose to South Carolina.
yeah. So
Period.
I know, and that's something that bothers me, that the way they did it, it felt like everybody pulled back and wanted him to do it because he'd been doing it.
Right, but it was like nobody else. They were just waiting
Right.
on him to do it. Well, that's not team basketball,
No,
and that's not what Coach Barnes wants.
and it's not a good time for this to happen.
No.
So
And then when a
Just
dude
one
got
game.
in foul
Just
trouble,
one
but when
game.
he got in foul
Yeah.
trouble, you have a problem at the post. Other than a dude, who do you really have?
exactly, and
That's
something
where
like
we've
that
not
happens.
seen somebody else step in there.
Yeah, and when that happens in the tournament, you go home.
Right.
You can't
Oh,
have that.
that-
That's
in the
exactly
tournament.
right.
So-
That's how you get one and
Upset.
done,
Yeah, exactly.
which we've
So-
seen that happen around here a whole lot.
So, what do you think that does to them in the rankings?
Tonight, you got Kentucky at Kentucky. Both teams lost this week. Kentucky got beat. So you got Tennessee, Kentucky. It's a top 10 matchup. The loser of this game tonight drops out of the top 10.
Listen,
Yeah.
I know you guys are fans. You guys look at it as a fan. I look at it as a coach. Who cares about rankings?
Nobody.
Nobody yet.
But-
Who cares? All you get to all that matters. You
Get
get
into
into
the
the
dance.
conference tournament. You get into the dance.
Right.
You work your way into the
But
conference.
those,
But
but
that
those
does
rankings,
matter
hey,
about
when they
seeding.
look,
it'll help the seedings
Yeah,
in,
that's a
in,
big deal.
in the big yeah.
exactly.
But
And-
still,
and
you've
you
got
don't-
to perform.
You don't want to drop from a 1 seed to a 4 seed.
No.
But at the end of the year, you're
but
in trouble.
Here's the deal. You've seen it before. There's times that you had rather be the 5 seed than the 2 seed from where you're having to go and who all's in that bracket with you.
Yeah, it depends on
I
how
can
the
assure
bracket-
you I was going to get
Exactly.
2 seeds
So-
of 5.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because you always see a 5 and a 12 and something happens.
Yeah,
well,
I'd
you
much
just-
rather be a 2.
Hey, when they draw those things out and they
You
put them out,
just-
you just don't know what's going
all
on.
you want to be
But
is give me a chance.
yeah, but I don't like to see them losing ball games this late in the year, going into the
Well,
tournament.
that's a big game
time.
with Kentucky tonight
Yeah, it
on
will
ESPN
be.
at
It will
7:30.
be.
Big ball game, and Kentucky plays really good at home.
Is that at
really
home
bad?
for
No,
them?
it's in Lexington tonight.
Oh,
And they play well at home, not so good on
let
the
me
road.
tell you something. Have you ever been in that place?
Oh yeah, one time.
Oh man,
Oof.
it's something else. I
Oof.
mean, that whole state shut. That's so eastern side of Kentucky shuts down on game day, and they have a party all day long. And when they come in there, it's a ruckus.
Your boy Bill Lewis took me up there one time, and we went to a game up there, and it was oh,
All right, so
rough.
There was blue blood.
True and true. You got some other SEC games just want to mention real quick. I think Mississippi State and Alabama is interesting. Mississippi State's got a lot of length. Alabama right now is leading the. Their only loss was a bad loss where they got blown out by Tennessee, but they're 7-1 in the SEC. Auburn is at Ole Miss. Here's another one. Auburn really tough at home. I think Ole Miss has got a shot to clip them. That's a tough place to play down there.
it is. I'll tell you, I have been saying for a while now since Mississippi State beat Tennessee. Mississippi State is a team you better watch. They've got athletes, and they got like 7 or 8 of them that are just.
Let's mention the MTSU girls real quick too. They've now won 6 in a row. They've got Western Kentucky today at 2:00 at Murphy Center up the road here, and that's always Western and MTSU's big game.
That's the 100 miles I ate.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. All right. Let's change gears now and let's talk a little bit about some Titans ball and the NFL. Looks like Mr. Bill Callahan is coming to Tennessee.
That's the key hire.
Yeah.
Bill Callahan.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Dad.
And honestly, it didn't matter who the OC was because Brian is going to call the plays himself. So this didn't matter who it was.
Right.
Sort of surprised had Cleveland done they did do the right thing. Had they not, I'm not so sure he wouldn't have made Dad the OC.
Yeah.
Just because then it's an upgrade from Cleveland, but they didn't have to because everything worked out like it should.
What about the OC? What do we know about him?
Nick Holtz is his name. Used to be at UNLV. They are high school buddies. They played ball together.
Okay.
Yeah, they went to high school together.
So they're a connection there.
He is the passing game coordinator for Jacksonville, and he also was coached out at UNLV. He's been in the league a while. Here was the big get for the Titans this week. The defensive coordinator, Denard Wilson from the Ravens.
That is huge.
Because there was a bunch of the Giants, they said, were furious. They tried to not let him leave the building.
Yeah.
And I think once you saw McDonald, the DC, go to the Seahawks job, Denard Wilson was the leading candidate in the house to become the Ravens DC.
All right. Let's throw this.
He interviewed 4 or 5 times. This was a great hire because look at that secondary for Baltimore.
Yes. Here's my question.
He's a secondary guy.
He throws his players up on the board that he's got left to work with right here in Tennessee. What does he look up there and say? Coming from where he was to now, what am I going to need? Wow.
He looks over there and he looks at Mr. Callahan and he goes, I might be as bad as you are.
Well, I think to get a guy like this, it tells me one thing. Callahan said, look, you run the defense and I'm going to run the offense. And he knows he's going to be able to run it. Where if you go somewhere else and it's a defensive-minded coach, you're not really a DC.
Now, we're talking about the coaches and all, and we're talking about the players or lack of. What's their cap money?
How are they? They're good.
We're
about $94 million, isn't it?
It's about $86 million, but that could change. You're going to have some people that's going to free up more money. I cannot believe this left tackle's not going to get cut. That's going to save you $10 million right there.
Here, here's my thing with the cap money. Titans have been burnt horribly when they try to go out and get a person that's on their last leg wanting big time money. I think cap money is better off used Parkerism. Other people that are younger, that are going to have a little more time that we can develop. But when you're using cap money, you're using that for somebody that, hey, I got to have you now in this spot.
Well, typically this big money comes on their 3rd to 6th year, and that after their first contract runs out, they get the money if they perform. And we have seen people overachieve those first 2 years, get big money, and then drop off the plane.
Now let me ask you this,
running back.
Question about cap money, and we got it in Derrick Henry.
What do you do?
What do you think his chances of staying in Tennessee?
Not very good because I think he wants to win a ring. I could see him in Baltimore, Dallas, or somewhere.
You think?
And I think he's going to take less money to go there.
So you think it's going to be more of a Derrick Henry decision, than a Titan decision?
I think it's up to
his
Derrick
money.
Henry.
It would be the same probably if he stayed, but he wants to go.
He's not going to make $15 million.
No. I'm not.
He's going to make $5 to $7 million.
But that's what somebody else is going to pay.
5-7.
Yeah,
He's not going
exactly.
to get it.
It
There's
would be
no
the
more
same
big.
state or
I
big
think
deals.
somebody that's close that thinks I might just be a Henry away
Like Baltimore
are going to give him a little more money.
might do it, but
or Dallas.
How much impact is he going to have on one of those teams versus
Huge.
the
But-
impact
and-
he
and-
had
How good
here?
would he be with the Ravens? Think about that, Lamar
But
Jackson.
here's
That's the
the
question.
thing you got to think about the Ravens. Do they have the money?
They're not up against the cap like a lot of these teams. Like Buffalo's fixing, maybe have to blow it up.
Yeah.
Buffalo's way over the cap. The Chargers right now, where Jim Harbaugh just went way over the
Oh,
cap.
it's a mess down there. He's going to have to do a coaching job.
He's got to cut some players.
Yeah, he is.
Some of those defensive players that they're making big money, and I think they're like $60 million over the cap.
Well, all right, let's shift gears from Titans now and talk about Super Bowl. Of course, we all were pulling for Detroit. A little disappointing to see them walk away, but they had a great season. Their coach,
second half
Dan
was
Johnson,
And they're ridiculing him and they're giving him a hard time
know.
because he should have done this and he should have done that. You know what that is? That's 2020.
Yeah.
That's 2020. It's been an armchair. He's done it most of the year and been successful. And when he did, man, hey, that's a great call. You did
The
good.
calls,
Well,
the turnovers in the second half
yeah,
are what got you in the
yeah.
fluke plays, but the turnovers were bad.
right.
But you got a guy sitting here to intercept the football, and it bounces off of
I
him. He
know
didn't do it. And the you kid gets it. I mean, it was
I
just
know.
bad luck on
I
that
know.
one.
It's just a fluke play.
But I will tell you, so let's talk about Kansas City for a minute. Is anybody going to underestimate Mr. Mahomes anymore?
Hey, and then they just go in. You know what they do? They're Kansas City, but they win. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And kudos to Andy Reid for running the football
Yeah.
and keeping them off Mahomes. He did a
Dude,
masterful job
dude,
against the
sharp.
Ravens.
Dude's smart.
Masterful
He's
job.
smart.
It's going to be another good Super Bowl.
But you know what?
think.
Oh, I do too.
I think San Francisco.
I
is
think
prime.
San Francisco will win.
I do too.
I
Let's
do.
just
They have-
we'll
they
make
have-
our official
Yeah.
predictions next week.
I think
Sure.
the better quarterback's
But
going
I'm
to
gonna
win.
tell you, it's hard. It's hard to go against Kansas
Yes,
City.
it is.
What about Purdy taking off running that ball, getting some big plays
Think
that
he's
were
growing,
crucial
developing.
plays?
Mhm.
You play a half like that they played against the Lions, like they did the first half against the Chiefs, you're out of the game.
That's true. That's
Mhm.
true.
And they did it with the Packers also.
They did the
and-
same thing with the Packers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You-
Where was Kittle the first half? He wasn't. What did he have? 2 catches the whole game. One was like for 2 yards, and the other was a 15, 20-yard catch, and that was
He
it.
disappears a lot of times.
Yeah, he does. He just vanishes. I don't know. They're just trying to force it to Debo and the other receiver. What's his name?
No, the running
Ayuk
back
and Debo and
Yeah,
McCaffrey.
McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they got the weapons.
There's
It'll
a-
be fun to watch.
There's
We'll
a
talk
game
about
on
that.
today I just mentioned real quick, and it's the Senior Bowl on the NFL Network, and I believe it
Yeah.
starts at 1.
I've got to.
I got at least TiVo if I don't get to watch it. But you want to talk watching these seniors, and there's some NFL prospects down there, and that's always a fun game to watch. That's today.
The senior, the one that they're popping, and I keep up with a lot of it. Some of it is Penix is lighting it up down there. They say he's moving up the draft board. Michael Penix.
How much higher can he get though? Where was he?
A lot of
Middle
people.
of second round.
A lot of people had him in a second. Now he's moving top 15.
Yeah.
And one that's going down is Bo Nixon.
Bo Nix.
Oh
had a
yeah.
bad
Yeah.
week.
Oh yeah.
He is.
Now, there's a tackle from Oklahoma that's moving up. Great
Yeah,
big
Oklahoma
boys.
State.
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma
With
State.
all the talent that's in the NFL right now, I don't see Bo Nix cracking into it.
Yeah.
I just don't see him. He might come in and be
the
a
scare
backup.
with Penix is the injuries. He's had so many over the years. You worry about that a little bit.
All
He
right.
can play.
I want to ask you guys a question before we close out. What about the not the Super Bowl, but the Pro Bowl? Last year they moved to flag football, and we're having
Disbanded.
flag football. Why even have it now?
No, I agree.
Well, it makes money
Okay, that's what it's about.
and it's entertainment.
It don't entertain
I don't
me.
watch
at all.
it.
Oh, hey,
I'm not into it.
We're old school,
Yeah,
but these new people, they like to see them. And I will be honest with you, the dodgeball was pretty fun to watch.
I can't
When
do
they're
but it's
when they're
football.
when they're
That's
doing
right.
those
They're
other
they're football players.
I know it, but it's still. But when let me ask you this: I watched a highlight of one of the last Pro Bowls that they played
I
when
know they didn't play.
when they
No.
wore their helmets and shoulder pads
Okay,
and they're
going
playing.
back. Yeah.
And they were actually playing the game.
Yeah.
And the center for I'm coming dead with my names for the Philadelphia Eagles, Kelsey. He's under center, getting ready to snap the ball, and he and the defensive lineman in front of him are talking. And when he snaps it, they're laughing at each other while they're playing in the game. Now, what's the difference between that and flag football?
Well, here's the thing. It has changed. It has changed because I remember watching it as a kid. I couldn't wait to watch it.
I agree.
I hated it. But here's the thing about it. As a kid, I hated the game because it was the last game of the year. It was always after the Super Bowl.
You know what?
I watched it.
Tony Dorsett running the ball. Franco Harris running the ball against the best, and they were actually playing the game because they wanted to win.
Sure.
And it's just changed over the years.
There used to be a big incentive to winning. You got $100,000 bonus or whatever.
There's incentives for what they're doing with this other stuff also.
Well, back then it wasn't about the money. It is about the money now. I mean, it was not. It wasn't a question of whether you were going to watch it or not.
Pride.
Everybody watched it.
It was pride.
Yeah. It's like I'm not going to get hurt.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
We're talking about this with the Pro Bowl. Same thing's happening in college football with this NIL.
That's true.
It ain't about the pride of the school no more.
Let's mention one thing before we close on.
How
about Virginia and Tennessee hammering back on the NCAA the way they did? I think the NCAA has got a problem.
They do.
This may do them in.
I read a little article on Kevin Steele. He's retired from college football now. Coached at Tennessee, coached at Alabama, coached at Auburn, coached some pretty good places.
Georgia.
He can say this stuff now because he's not into coaching and not going to get back into coaching.
Right.
He said, this is what NIL has done to college football. He said, go in. He said, this is a true story. Go in to recruit a young man, go into his house, sit down with his mother, and his mother and I were having a great conversation. And she says, Coach, you guys are great people. Been to your school 15 times. Know everybody by name. I mean, it's just a great atmosphere. You guys are the great. You're going to prepare my son. He's going to get better at your school. Could possibly be a first-round draft pick, but you're not even close financially. You're not even close monetarily.
The parents are acting as agents.
You're not even close to getting him. And that's what it's going to now.
But once you've opened the door and Pandora's box is open, NCAA don't come back after the fact and say, once you've allowed it, you've allowed it. Now let's not come back and change it.
What? Yeah. If you tried to change it, what would you do with all
what
those
Tennessee
kids?
did, it appears, with this quarterback in California, is they went by the California law as it was, and they didn't do anything wrong. But you can't come back once you allow the states to do it and then come back and say, but here's the way we do it. This is all.
This is like
at Florida State, you thought something was going to happen there, didn't you? And what happened? Basically nothing.
Yeah.
Because once we've allowed it, you've opened the door, and here we are. And I'm just afraid it's going to ruin college football.
Well, it's going to change it.
It already changed it.
It's not going to ruin it. We're always going to watch it.
Yeah,
it's always, but it's going to change it to the way we know it.
And you may see that they're saying this draft even is going to be affected by NIL. A guy that's projected for 4, 5, and 6 is not coming out early if he's got an NIL deal. And why should he?
He's making more money this year.
Sure did.
This
You're making more money in college than you would in
this has hurt the integrity of college football, though, as far as the true. I mean, now, and it's even working its way into high school.
Yep.
But
sure,
it filters
We've
down.
got it in high school.
But right now, high school is still the purest form of football we got.
You've got NIL. You've got NIL and transfer policies in high school today.
It's ridiculous.
In Tennessee, legally.
It's ridiculous. But still, you've taken the integrity game and shifted it down. I guess it's going to end up in Pee Wee footballs. Is where it's going to end up.
Well, I mean, it's always been there because, hey, you come help me coach because you got a son that can play. Your son's a player. You need to be.
Yeah.
You
But
need to come help
but
me.
as far as the kids go, they just want to play, have
They
fun.
just wanna play.
They
Look,
want to win.
Now you're
That's-
seeing in football what we saw in college basketball the last 2 or 3 years. Really veteran coaches saying, you know what?
I'm done.
I'm done.
Yeah. It's
Roy
too-
Williams, done.
I worked so hard.
Nick Saban, done.
I worked so hard to get this young man or young lady to my program. We recruited them, we spent, and they play for us 1 year, and then somebody else comes and goes and offers them more, and they're out. You know, I coached a lot of years. One of my favorite, I say this, one of my favorite years to coach was I was coaching little league, little baseball, coach pitch, 5-year-old, 6-year-old kids. And we would go out and we would play. And you know what? At the end of the game, they would look at me and say, Coach, did we win? Did we win? They were playing because they loved it. You know what I told them? I said, did you have fun?
Right.
If you had fun, you won. They didn't even know what they were playing, didn't know whether they won or lost. Did we win? And you know what changed? After a while, we won. And they got used to winning. And
There you go.
it changed.
Here's what the NCAA is now allowing the system to teach the kids. First of all, you owe me something. And second of all, I don't have to commit to anything. That's what is being taught with these two things, NIL and the transfer portal. Those two things, what it's teaching. Is that what we want our education system to do?
Let me show you what else. This is Parkerism again. Going to the bowl games. These kids are making all this NIL money with this school. They don't make it to the playoffs. So they don't play in the bowl game. Because they've already got their money.
What's the point?
What's
in the bowl games now that you got the playoff? It's no different than the NCAA and the NIT.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Nobody remembers who played
the best
the
of
NIT.
the rest, and that's it.
'Cause that's where you're at.
Yeah.
It's the NIT and the tournament.
So this is really going to hurt bowls because
Sure,
when they
sure.
mean nothing, people aren't going to tune in and watch them, and they're not going to go sit in the stadium and watch them.
and
But
they're already, it's going to the 12.
Yeah.
There's already a controversy.
Oh, of course.
And
there
here's
will
the
be.
big one. Here's the big one. You got 4 teams that's going to get a bye.
Mhm.
They're the ones that are already upset because these other 4 games, they've got to have a play-in game. Somebody's getting a home game. Somebody's going to get to play at home. And then when they get to the next round, nobody's at home. And the 4 bye teams are saying
Moral
they're
of that
getting a home
story:
game.
finish in the top 4, and you won't have that problem.
Well, that's going to be
No,
set up to your
they're
big
the
conferences.
ones that are upset because the ones playing the week before,
Right?
somebody's getting to play at home.
Yeah, I know.
But when
But it doesn't matter in that next round because that's when the bowls kick in.
that's right. So they're saying they're getting a home game. We're not.
Talking about revenue.
Revenue.
Oh, the revenue side.
The
of
revenue.
it. I got you. They're getting extra money coming.
Well, I would
and
assume in
you-
a playoff game, you're not getting all the revenue. The NCAA's taking that money.
Probably so.
Yeah, but you're getting concessions.
Yeah,
you're
you
getting parking. You're getting people's going to eat and get hotel rooms. And
See, now this is so foreign to talk about the money side of college football.
it's all it's
20 years ago, it was there, but it wasn't at the forefront like it is today.
No.
It's changed completely. Guys, we got to go.
Now we did it. Back then, we did it in the old McDonald bag.
Exactly.
No, that's when you walk and
Yeah.
you had your helmet like it's right
Yeah,
here and let them just put the
Yeah,
$100
yeah.
right. That's a Whit Taylor story.
Okay, we'll
Let's
skip
thank our
that.
sponsors.
Yes, absolutely. First Bank here in Shelbyville. We appreciate you guys. Stop by and see Brent and the gang for all your banking needs. Also, we have Kincaid,
Service company.
where service is their middle name, also on Madison Street.
Mark and Eve Kincaid.
Yeah.
Go in and see them.
Go check them out. They got a room full of stuff that you got to have.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we've got Corner Cleaners out on North Main Street. Miss Susie Johnson at Corner Cleaners. She'll take care of all your cleaning needs. And coming up real soon, those proms, rent those tubs
Yep.
from her.
Yep.
Hey,
All
next week we may have to have a 4th chair because I've got somebody coming down from up north,
Okay.
All right.
coming home.
All
coming
right.
home
Well, we
this
got
week.
we got an extra chair.
Absolutely.
Always. Guys, thanks for watching this morning. We'll be back this same time next week, same place.
Shane Young Show will be on Thursday, not Monday.
Thursday night. Get out, support your local teams.
A lot of basketball.
Looks like we got a Monday night game, a Tuesday night game, a Thursday night game, and Friday night. So you got a lot of opportunities.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching.